All right, let's finish up where we left off. And I forgot to share screen again. Here we go. So we left off at the steel paragraphs, and I had just cut one of my three Paul Tough paragraphs. If it doesn't fit, you gotta cut it. Like that's just kind of how it works. I know that you might find your writing precious. It was like, no, but how am I going to get the page count? Don't worry about the page count. Don't worry about the number of words. Worry more about clarity. Worry more about making sense. Those are by far more important issues than making sure you get to the page minimum. At least in this class, I don't care. I don't care if you don't make it. But I do care if you're clear along the way. I do care if you're showing the things that I need you to show. Your ability to incorporate texts, your ability to do, everything that we kind of need to do. So yeah. So now we are at the Steele summary response. Of course, let's delete this. We don't need it to say Steele SR. And in fact, we might be moving these around, so it might not work. So I left myself a note, insecurity ? Because again, that's what my operational definition was about. That kind of means that that's what my paper is about. So I have to make sure that something close to it is added to pretty much every part of our paper, because not every part of our paper, but to the first half of our paper. Recognizing this point is important because stereotypes affect our day-to-day lives for the worse and cause students to feel insecure. So I added this and cause students to feel insecure, just so I could get my insecurity note in there, right? Let's see here. Recognizing this point is important, and that's the point is the feeling trustworthy, and having students talk about their doubts. Yeah, so this isn't like a foolproof method. This is just making sure on a cursory level, on a scanning level, that these paragraphs match. I could tell you right now that this paragraph doesn't quite match the one before it, because the quote doesn't quite work for me. Whistling Vivaldi is about the experience of living under such a cloud. But this is about how important, students need to feel trustworthy in school. And the quote was about their misconceptions and fears. There has to be a clearer way to bring up what this cloud is, but we don't have that right now. And I'm not asking us to find it right now. I mean, we should. We know that it's missing in our paper, so we should fix it. But I'm just like trying to show you that you've written a lot of this stuff. So yeah, there might be a hole here or there. Fill those holes in when you have time. But it's easier to have a big chunk of this done and you fix little bits later than to start all over again. We don't want to do all of that extra work. Let's see here. So then the next paragraph, it started with just a straight up quote. That does not work. We need a topic sentence. That's why I put that topic ? Let's see here. The allocation of mental resources and even precise patterns of brain activation by which these threats impair a broad range of human functioning. This quote doesn't quite work, because there's a lot of context that's missing, but that's not what I'm fixing right now, right? I'm just trying to make it fit into an essay. This quote is saying that even how intellectually capable the student is in school and how knowledgeable, it could potentially harm and affect the person's mind emotionally by this social organization, which discriminates against other races. I think we're a little off topic here, and this one really might not work for us right now. So I think I'm going to cut it. I think I'm going to cut it. All right. So I cut two paragraphs that don't seem to fit. Notice we have a multi-paragraph essay here. We need a conclusion now, right? So our conclusion is always going to be like, so what? What is the reader supposed to do with this information? This is not about you, the writer. It's not about you necessarily, the student. It's about the reader and what the next steps are for the reader. This is a huge step later on in life. When you write for, when you apply for a job and they ask for a cover letter, you need to find a way to ask for the job or ask for the next step without being too pushy. You go, do I get the job? You don't do that. But there are ways to ask for the next step without being pushy. Like in the interview, when they ask, do you have any questions for us? You could ask, what are the next steps in this process? Basically, that sets them up to explain what the next steps are and to let you know that they're thinking, or that you're thinking, that it's not like you're putting pressure on them to actually include you in those next steps. Whether or not you're a worthy candidate, you have now put very subtly pressure on them to deal with you. Rather than, did I get the job? It's easy to answer no, because they don't know you yet. It's harder for them to explain it, but also gives them a way out if you phrase it correctly. So in this case, you talked about student insecurity to a teacher, me. So really, what are teachers, meaning me, supposed to do when they recognize, now that you've pointed out that student insecurity is huge? Student insecurity is a huge issue when it comes to success at school. Schools should first recognize this issue and then make steps to help more at home, on campus, and in the class. These steps must address things beyond just resources. They must address the emotional well-being of a diverse student population. It's not great, but it is something, right? It is basically a call to action for the teacher to do or the school to do. But we have our essay right here. We did 3 pages. It would have been more if I kept those other paragraphs, but that's totally fine. You will have more when by the, really, if you're just going along in the cycle, because the first class of this week is writing another summary response that's not included here. Throughout the rest of the semester, you're going to want to keep in mind whatever it is that you're writing about here. You want to keep that in mind for all your summary responses, and know that you're just going to be adding on to this paper, always this singular paper. That's what I got for you. Hopefully that is helpful. But yeah, if you got any questions, as usual, email me, text me, remind, pronto, whatever you got. I'm here to help you out. Love y'all. Have a good one. Bye.